Hello everyone, Just a Cup, Bryan Fetzer here on World Greatest Team. Going to be having Filip Mihaljević from Croatia coming on here momentarily. It's throws week, and on here we're talking to a bunch of different throwers. We've got Ryan Krauser coming up tomorrow, as well as Deanna Price on Saturday. Tom Welsh is going to be on Saturday as So have you been
Hoping
able,
to start.
have you been able to train at all and do
Well,
things?
first few weeks it was hard. First of all, mentally because the Olympics were canceled. So
Right.
after that, what's the point of pushing yourself to like to limits? I had to train at home for a little bit, and now we're back training normally again. But with the whole schedule shifted, and we still don't know what's happening. So
Sure.
I think we're taking it kind of slow. We're waiting to see what the schedule is going to look like, so we can like adjust our plan and focus for this year and next year as well.
Sure. Well, I mean, you had an incredible indoor season. I
It
mean,
it was a perfect season, I would say.
yeah. I mean, you're build momentum. You got it rolling. I mean, several throws over the high 21 meters. I mean, pretty close to your outdoor best, right?
Yeah, the best.
What what did you do in preparation? You know, for indoors, maybe it was different, or
I
what?
think
What kind of
going.
sparked that?
Yeah, I think last year was a really big year for me, and I was in a good
Mm-hmm.
shape in Doha, and I took some
Right.
time off, and when I got back to training, I just kept started off where I left off the last season, and that's what the biggest thing was for me, starting off on a high note, and
And
ending the
building,
season
yeah.
on a high note, and kind of just continuing where I left off. So that was the big thing, just focused, hard, nothing beat hard, nothing beat work hard, and I think just working hard every day and being focused on daily and weekly goals, and that's what that's all you can do. And then after that, the season was amazing. Too bad it got cut off right now. So
Yeah, but it definitely is something that seems like you can kind of add to and build on. What was the focus in the weight room? Getting stronger. I mean,
getting stronger, getting bigger. I think that's what most throwers can say. Getting bigger and getting stronger.
right.
Especially me, because I was always on a smaller side. You look at the big guys, Ryan. Going from college being 270, going to over 300 in a couple of years. I was in 250s in college, and which I had a good collegiate career, but for the professional one, you really have to step up and put on some muscle. And I did. I'm 290, 295 now, which
Whew,
is 30 pounds from college, and I
big.
think I'm on a good path for some big things.
What what has been the main focus in the weight room for you?
Uh,
What lifts are you really working to improve on?
Bench press. I think bench press was, getting to 200 kilos was the goal. Being in college and doing like 150s and thinking that that's good because it's good for normal people.
Sure.
But in the pros world, you're nowhere. People can do 20 reps at 350 or like 400 pounds. And it was definitely a big thing for me. Bench press, and you're getting the upper body stronger. My legs were always decently strong, but my upper body was lacking strength. And I think I'm doing a much better job now. There's a lot of room left for improvement, but I'm progressing.
No, and you've been consistent. Like you said, indoors, you were really consistent in the competitions you were. And obviously, we're talking about throwing shot. Have you ever thought about, throwing the disc anymore, or is that in the past?
I think it's in the past and maybe in the future, but it's not in the present. It's not in the present. I've always loved the shot more. As you know,
Sure.
at Virginia, I've just enjoyed it more and competing more. So I think it might be in the future somewhere. But as of right now, I'm focusing on the shot, and I'm using the days. I used to throw discus. I'm using it to get some extra recovery, to get some extra rest, so I can be fresher by the end of the week for the shot. So I love watching discus. I follow it a lot, and I follow the guys, and I love watching it. I just never loved it as much as I love the shot.
Sure. What you say recovery? You mentioned the word recovery. What are some things you do to help your body recover between sessions?
I do something every day. Mondays and Thursdays I do ice bath, and and then Tuesday, Fridays I do a whole body massage with some therapy if needed. If I feel stiff in a certain body part, I would work that. But every day, foam rolling and some lacrosse ball trigger points. I don't even mention that because that's just a regular part. But I do ice bath twice a week, a full body massage twice a week. That's the recovery schedule.
That's good. What are some things that you would advise, or young shot putters, young throwers? What do they need to do, or what advice would you have for them to reach the level where you're at?
I think at the level where the shot is right now, I would tell them don't be discouraged because the level is really high. And, when you look at the numbers, and you're thinking you have to throw 22 to be a top 10, on the list.
Right.
It can be really discouraging for young guys. But I would tell them, do not be discouraged because, especially for the young guys, there is so much work. And this generation will probably go, and the level of the competition will go down. I would assume. So I would just tell them to keep working hard and don't look at other people's results right now because their future is in like 5 or 10 years. Right. So because it can be really discouraging. Thinking that you have to throw over 22 for a medal at the World Championships or Olympics.
It's crazy. You mentioned the word future. And I need to bring this up because your future changed pretty significantly a little bit ago with a little question you asked.
That's right.
Engaged. That's amazing.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing. I think it's one of the biggest decisions in my life that is not including sports.
Sure.
And I've been thinking about it a lot, and I just felt it was the right time to do it, and I met my girlfriend 3 years ago, and I got to know her really well, and I think she's the one, so might as well just do it now and not wait too much longer.
What so we'll give some dating advice to all your contemporaries out there. What makes a good fit for a future wife?
I think you have to find somebody that really understands you and then understands your passions and your obligations. When I first met my girlfriend, she didn't really understand how track worked. How how everything worked. Like, why do you have to go for a training camp? Why can't you just, train, at home? And why do you have to compete in, I don't know, in Eugene? Can you just compete in, in Split?
Right.
And, just because if you're not from a sports family, you don't see these things, and it takes more time to realize some things. But for just in general, somebody who understands you regardless of what you do, and somebody that will love you no matter what, somebody who you have to spend your whole life with that person, so you better like them a lot.
That is true.
for the next 50 or 40, 50, 60 years, you'll be tied up with them. So you better like them a lot, because you'll be spending a lot of time together.
That is true. Is she from the area, or Zagreb, or
No, she's from my hometown in Bosnia.
Oh, it's even better.
Yeah, it's even better. My mom was her kindergarten teacher. So my mom taught her when she was
wow,
4 years old. Yeah.
that goes way back.
Yeah. It's a good story.
So you talked about traveling. What has been some of the most exciting places you've had an opportunity to travel to as an athlete?
I'm a big guy. I love food, so I would judge many places by the type of food they have.
Yeah.
I know you're the same way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's hard to beat Croatian local food. We have amazing food, so it's hard to beat it. But one place that stood out to me was Bangkok when I went to Thailand.
Huh.
Man, I was there for a few days, but I was busy working. And then the last day, I was leaving for the airport at 4 p.m. So I got up in the morning early. I took €100 and exchanged the money. So I was at the market for like 5 hours, just waiting to get hungry again and then eat different foods. I started with fried bananas, and then I went to like Thai food, and I went mangoes, and I was there for 4 or 5 hours just trying different foods,
That's awesome.
It was amazing. I loved it.
What? So okay, give an example for somebody that might not be an athlete. What's a normal trip when you're going to a competition somewhere? What's kind of a normal? I'm gonna say a normal trip or a normal kind of situation that you'd have to go through.
It would depend if you're going for a single competition or you have a couple of meets lined up. So, for example, this indoor season, I went to Düsseldorf for an indoor meet. But before that, I was 1 week in Belgrade for a training camp.
Okay.
And after Düsseldorf, I went to Poland for another meet. So I'm planning a trip 2 weeks in advance, So you have to think about every single thing that you will need in the next 2 or 3 weeks. And it's hard because you don't want to think too far ahead, but you really have to. And sometimes, most of the time, you forget something. Charger for your phone, for your laptop, for your toothpaste, toothbrush, whatever. But you always forget something, And I think that's an exciting thing because you go to Poland and you go to a store, buy a toothbrush. It's something that is really basic, but it's exciting also. Traveling is different, and it's packing, things for me as an athlete, making sure I have all the vitamins ready. If you have protein shakes, if you're, you really have to think about the next 3 weeks. Have to bring most of your supplements if you're traveling for a long time. You have to get ready, bring in the implements. For us, I think it was the hardest. The hardest thing is to bring all the implements. Traveling, we went away for 3 weeks, so I had to bring all the shots I had. A 9K, 8 kilos, 7.5 kilos, 6 kilo. So all this putting in a bag and traveling, it's really challenging because you just go to one place for 2 days and you have to repack and you have to pack again and then travel again. It's really not that enjoyable as people think. You travel to 5 different cities in 3 days, and it's really not that fun because you don't get to sightseeing. You just travel and work. So I think
some people think, hey, you're in Dusseldorf. Where did you go? What did you see? And you're like, I'm a track. There's a hotel.
Yeah, I went to the gym, track, the hotel the lobby of the hotel, and I went to the, went to the shower in my room. That's all.
Right.
That's all I did.
Right. What's something that you have to pack for every trip that might be unique to you?
I would.
It's not a shot put. It's a comfort.
I would say. I don't know if it's unique to me, but I would say tuna in a can. Yeah, because that would be like if I don't get to eat in the hotel, if I make it late to the hotel, I would bring tuna as a meal replacement or a snack or whatever you call it. But I think I don't know. Smart. I think some other people do it too, but you cannot always calculate. You cannot always think that you'll make it. There's always your flight gets rescheduled, delayed, whatever. And a few times, I started doing it because I was late for dinner one time. I didn't eat the whole day. Then I competed the next day. Of course, I didn't do well because I was exhausted from traveling. But from that trip, I learned, and I bring tuna cans, 2 or 3 every time I go somewhere. So
that's really smart advice. I think a lot of people wouldn't think of that.
I never thought about it until it actually happened to me, and I said, why wouldn't I buy a can of tuna and bring it with me? It's a good protein meal. It's a good snack, and if you don't get to eat your dinner, you still get some protein in and recover well from the trip.
Yeah. Well, hey, we've got Just the Cup. We've got Filip Mihaljević on from Croatia, telling us a little bit about things. If you have any questions, write down in the comments. Read a question, we'll answer it. I give you the disclaimer: if you put it in Croatian, something he's gonna have to read it, not me. But it's okay.
I'll just answer it.
So what your training group, the group that you have right now, you're training out of Zagreb, right?
Actually, I'm in Split.
You're in Split. So who all trains with you in Split then?
At the moment, because of all the virus situation, it's only me at the moment. But I'm working with a coach who works with Stipe also. So Stipe and I, we're a group. Marco. At the moment, Stipe is at home in Zagreb, but he was here for a training camp, and then he left because of this whole situation. So the group is pretty fun because it's competitive. Working every day and pushing each other. You cannot ask for anything better. Having somebody who's as good as you. And it's a perfect lineup. Sure,
for sure. All right, so we did get our first question, but it's in Croatian. I'm not even going to try. You'll have to translate it and then translate it.
It said, how and when did you decide to start shot putting?
Okay.
So I can answer in English or I can answer in Croatian.
We'll answer it in Croatian and then we'll take an answer in English too. So people can understand.
Yeah. Počeo sam bacat prije 2011. sam prvi put bacao i tata mi je volio bacati kamena s ramena, bacanje kugle. Tako da sam na jednom natjecanju seoskom bacao kuglu, bacio oko 12-13 metara, pa sam išao na stadion, probao i tako dalje. Bilo 2011. u jesen. To je na idu. Right.
So everybody got a Croatian lesson there. You're not going to get that all the time.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I hope there are some questions in English too.
Seriously. What? So what? Give us the answer in English then.
So I started 2011 in the fall of 2011. So I started. My dad was we did. There's like in our area. People do. It's not a shot put. It's people throw a big rock. Just like like I would compare it to a stand throw in shot put. And there was a local meet, like a charity meet, where people play volleyball, soccer and stuff. And so one day they had this, shot putting. So I won the meet. I was the skinniest there, and I was one of the youngest guys, and I won. And then I went to see a coach in Split, like a professional coach, and that's how I started off.
I tell you what, you talk about being skinny. I remember you in Rieti, Italy. I mean, 290 was a long ways away from what you were then.
in Rieti, I had already put on like, 40 pounds from from where I started. I started at 81 kilos, and in Rieti I was like 101 or 102 kilos, and now I'm 135. So
It's a big difference.
But you know what the funny thing is? I think this could be interesting for some people. At 80 kilos, you feel skinny, or you feel weak, but once I got to 102, then you still, after some time, you feel you're skinny. And I thought if I get to like 300 pounds, that I would never feel skinny. And this indoor season, after a few meets, after everything settled down, I was 132, and I felt skinny.
Wow.
Like
wow.
I didn't feel skinny. I felt like something's missing. I feel like I can be much bigger,
Right.
And
well, I mean, for people that don't know, I mean, what, you're about 2.01 meters, like 6'7"?
201, yes, 201. Yeah, 6'7", 201.
6'7". So I mean, if you think about the size, as the NFL draft is coming up, an athlete who would be 6'7", 300 pounds, that's a pretty big man.
Yeah, and well, now I'm getting recognized as a shot putter. Just a few years back, I would still get recognized as a decathlete, maybe not a high jumper anymore, but a decathlete. Just in one meet this indoor season, I met this Bulgarian high jumper, and he looks at me. He's like, "Dude, you're so big." I was like, "How do you know me?" He said, "We were in Rieti together." He was high jumping. He said, "I remember seeing you. I thought you were a high jumper." I said,
wow.
Well, I was 100 kilos, so I was probably, too heavy for a high jumper. But yeah, he was like, "What did you do to yourself?" I'm like, "I just trained."
Well, how much do you eat a day to gain that much weight, or to get that big?
I eat 7 meals a day.
7.
Seven. I eat first breakfast 8 o'clock, then 10, then lunch at 1, then 4, then 6:30, 8, and then the last meal is at 8. Oh, at the 10 p.m. It's my second dinner. It's been my favorite meal since UVA.
And probably a little more than fish and rice cakes, right?
Much more than fish and rice cakes. My favorite meal is at 10 p.m. when I eat, salmon or some chicken leftovers or some tuna, and I eat like a 1 liter of milk with so every night. So I think that became it. It made me sick a little bit in the beginning, but I got used to it, and now I really like it.
That's awesome. What's your favorite meal back home?
Favorite meal?
If you're gonna ask your mom, if your mom's gonna cook you something, what is that one meal?
I would say burek. It's a Croatian pie. Well, actually, it's Bosnian pie. It's
okay.
I think it's actually Turkish, but since Turkey occupied Bosnia for a long time, we call it Bosnia now, but it's actually Turkish. It's kind of a pie with the meat. That's all.
What kind of meat do you have in there?
Meat, usually do beef, ground beef.
Nice. That sounds really good.
This guy's from Bosnia, and he's laughing because he lives in America and he knows what I'm talking about.
I love it. I love it. Wait, I saw Jack Lint was on, one of your old teammates at Virginia, and since the NFL draft is coming up, have you got to to follow American football? I know you got to be a Steelers fan when you were over in the U.S. Have you had a chance to watch anything or follow that stuff?
Of course. All the Sunday 1 p.m. games in the U.S. It's 7 or 8 p.m. here in Croatia, so it's actually a perfect timing for me. And I mostly watch, especially if there's a Steelers game at 1 p.m. Then I try to watch it. If there's a later game, I would watch maybe one quarter or the first half. But I've been following all the time. I'm following the draft. I'm expecting to see what happens. What is it, tomorrow? Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah, wow. Tomorrow and Friday and Saturday. So we'll see. I follow the Steelers mostly, and I follow other things happening. The big things. Brady going to Buccaneers and Gronk coming out of retirement. So I'm a big, actually, that's the only other sport I follow besides track. So
That was going to be my next question for you. I mean, the sports other than track and field.
yeah.
What we can kind of end on this. What advice would you have? I mean, you're an individual that came over to the United States and competed in college and had a lot of success in college, but then has even ramped it up afterwards. You know, what kind of recommendations or what kind of thoughts would you give to somebody that's thinking about, you know, coming over to college from a different country to the U.S.?
I would say that I think it's for many people, it's probably the best way to do the transition between the high school and the professional world.
Mm-hmm.
I think the U.S. college system it's a great system. There's a lot of money invested. There's a lot of knowledge, and many good coaches in sprints and throws and jumps. And as the results show, the NCAA is so competitive that I would advise every young man, no matter you come from Asia, Europe, South America, to go to a college in the States. So I think my advice would be try to trust the coaches in the U.S., regardless of, people coming out of European high schools usually work with really good coaches, and they have tough time transitioning to U.S. It happens so many times, but you have to trust other people, you have to trust other coaches, and see where it takes you. Give it a year or two, and I mean, you should improve.
Absolutely. Hey, that's good. That's good. That's good stuff. Hey, appreciate having you on. Wish you the best of luck with the season when it comes up, but even more so with the future marriage. Congratulations on that. That's
thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for
she's got a
having
good
me.
one.
Yeah, I hope so.
Oh, she definitely does.
Thank you for having me, Coach, and it was good talking to you. Stay safe during these times. Everybody else too. So
absolutely, we've got some coaches coming on the next couple of days for everybody out there listening. We've got Ryan Krauser. He'll be on tomorrow, and we've got Tom Walsh on Saturday night. We have Deanna Price on Saturday afternoon. So we got some pretty good throwers kind of lined up over the next couple of days for folks to get a chance to listen and talk to and everything. So for Just the Cup, Bryan Fetzer, world's greatest team. Filip, thank you again for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me.
We'll see you later.
Yep, see you.